Okay, we're gonna do a fog tier list today. Remember, this is based on my experience. It might not be your experience. So if you have any disagreements, comment below and then we can talk about that there. Remember, this is mainly based on competitive fog maps. So if you played fog with no fog design in mind, your tier list might look different. Okay, so to start, let's get the obvious ones out of the way. So Koji is obviously at the top. So his bombs are really annoying to deal with, gives a lot of vision, and is really safe. So number one right now. Let's go for the opposite, Dark Mercia. So fog doesn't change much for her. She's still very weak. Nothing to add there because fog doesn't add to her strengths. Probably makes it weaker, to be honest. Okay, another really strong commander is Valder. Now in fog, you actually have to see what you have to hit. So even if you know that, let's say a village is the enemies, but you don't see it, you can't actually target that village for attacks. So what Valder can do is just snatch a village that's further away, and then since it's fog, it will take more resources and time to get rid of that. So he has a boon in that. Another thing is he gets free scouts, right? You get your groove very fast, you get your soldier, you just send it in. You know, you don't have to commit everything, and then you would get information based on that. So very good, since he's super fast charge. Okay, let's go for another bad one. Another bad one. So I would say Ryota is one of the poo-poo ones. Now, Ryota is good without fog, but with fog, he could barely do anything because he would need to go find his enemy, see enough of his enemies, and then set up. Now, with those three things, it's way too hard to do. Even as fast charge, you like dash like 3 times. If you dash like 3 times, you end up somewhere where you don't know, you might just get killed off right there. So he needs way more information than he gets. That's why he's bad. Okay, another good commander, I would say, is Ragna. Now, fog doesn't change much for her. Like, she's still a good commander. And then, just based on like what she does, it's still very hard to play around with fog. Like, she just needs to see one part of the army, and then she could go in. Like, she doesn't need that much information to still do what she does. So fog doesn't change much for her. She's still very strong. Okay, let's see. Another weak commander would be Wolfar. So in this game, you actually have to see your tiles where you're gonna target for the groove. So if you only see like 2 tiles, you could only groove to 2 tiles there. So you actually have to see the tile where you want to groove to, and that's not always available. He still has like unit manipulation for positioning, but then like if you want to hit something really far away, that's not going to happen. You're going to hit it really close, and you might not get what you want. So he's really hard to use in fog. I mean, he still has something, but then it's so specialized, it's so situational. I don't think he's a good commander here. I would say Greenfinger. Like, fog doesn't take much out of him. The only thing that it does affect is his targeting, because you need to see where your vines go when you pick it. So if you don't see much, you can't groove at a bigger range. So you get smaller range for your groove cast. But afterwards, the vines give scouting information, and the enemy, they wouldn't want to hit the vines because they wouldn't know what's behind the vines. So the vines can act as scouts, free scouts, remember, because it could position itself 2 tiles away. So you could spot stuff for free, and then it gives you more information, and information is one of the resources in fog. So that's why he's so good. I mean, his strengths are still there, right? You could still block off units. Okay, so weak commander. I mean, I forgot about this. I mean, obviously, come on, guys. Another weak commander. Weak commander would be, let's say, twins. It's not that good. I'm actually, see, the problem with twins is you have to target, you have to wait, and then like it might not even do anything afterwards. So it's very, very hard to use it. I'm just gonna put it here. It's very bad. Like, fog doesn't help them that much. Like, the only good thing is when you put down the fire, if your enemy doesn't see the fire, they don't actually see the fire until they see the fire. They might run into the fire and then just die immediately. But I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Okay, so next strong commander, I would say, would be Caesar. I mean, he could go up higher. It really depends. He's harder to play, especially fog, because you still need to know where your opponent is. And I mean, he still gets to do what he does, right? I mean, he could go up, but I mean, he's fine here. If you're comfortable playing Caesar, just play Caesar. He's still very strong, gets to do what he wants. It's just not as consistent because you don't get to see where your opponent is most of the time. But other than that, there's not much to talk about. It's still the same thing. Tenri, let's leave Tenri for now. Let's say Sigrid. Fog does help her a little bit, right? Because the enemy might position something a bit too forward, not knowing where Sigrid is, and that she could just pick it off. And it's very important to have unit count in fog, since you could just scare your opponent. Even though you might have less units on the board, but if they only see like that group of units you have huddled together and you get rid of one of your guys, Sigrid gets rid of one of your guys, then you get scared, right? It's like, okay, I'm not gonna lose this fight, I'm gonna back up. Even though she might have less stuff than you. It's just how fog works, and you might get spooked. So she has something going for her. But the thing is after that, every other commander can just outperform her. Well, at least in the higher tiers. Speaking of that, Elodie does the same thing. So I'm gonna group her together. She might bump up. See, the thing about Elodie is that she gets another unit, which is very important. Gets vision, and you get another unit to attack with. So it's hard to say because she is slow charge, and you could probably only get this once. And if you don't use it well, you probably got outclassed. I'm just gonna leave it there for now. Let's see. I'll put Vesper there. I mean, it's global range. She doesn't have to be where the action is. And she could pop it, do the same thing without fog. I mean, with or without fog, she still does the same thing. So same reason as Caesar, very strong, like as a baseline strength. And then with fog, you could go in and then smoke her stuff and then not get punished, which is extremely strong. Probably could go up here as well, like Caesar, but I'm just gonna leave these three at the top since it's so consistent. You don't have to think about these. These two you have to think about because you could use their groove wrong and then just get outmatched, even by like these ones. I'll put Mercia there since I don't know. I actually don't know. I'll put her off for now. I would put Sedge here. Sedge is not as strong. He needs like information to get off his groove, and a lot of the times you might not get the perfect groove, so his power level is lower than before because of fog. Other than that, he still does the same thing. It's just way harder. Emmerich, it's not changed by fog much, but it might be very hard to get to the crystal once he gets into a good spot. And it gives vision. The crystal gives vision, so I would put that there. It's not very popular in fog, but I could see his strengths. Certainly better than these 5. Nuru, she has that flexibility, but she went to medium, so it's way harder for her. And she has to spot things. Like if you want to use a trebuchet, you have to spot things to actually hit with. But the thing is after she gets that trebuchet, what are you going to do about it? It's way harder to play around the enemy trebuchet in fog. But the problem with fog is you have to preemptively buy other units. So you can't just buy like only dogs and swords and spears, like the cheap units, and not buy anything else. Because your opponent can do that, and then if you don't buy the right things, you can't respond. So you can't really save up as easily as before, because you don't have that information. So it's way harder. You might get like a treb off, but then after that, your opponent might have something that you didn't anticipate, and then you just get crushed by that. Let's say like a dragon or something, and then you don't have any anti-air. But then if you do get anti-air, you won't have enough gold to use your groove as flexible. So there's a trade-off there. So I think she gets weaker in fog just because of how the unit buys happen. Okay, so these 2 are left off because these 2 are weird. I would put Tenri there just because of the targeting thing. You have to see where you target, and she's slow. You have to see. So the problem with her is just vision. Like she still gets to do what she does if she has enough vision. But if she doesn't have enough vision, then she doesn't get to do what she does. Okay, now for Mercia. Mercia is a weird one. Since right, her value comes from attacking. And then in fog, when you attack, you have to make sure that you're going to win that trade. You won't 100% know for sure, but you need to know enough. And Mercia allows that certainty to be lower. So you could play a bit more risky, and then her groove allows her to like fix her mistakes if that ever happens. If there's no mistakes, like if she wins a fight, then she wins a fight, right? That's good. If she doesn't win the fight, gets her stuff damaged, then she could just back off, use the groove, and get value from that. So I think she's at least B tier. I wouldn't put her in A because all you have to do is just not fight. Like once you spot Mercia, you just know, okay, she's at this spot, don't fight at this spot, and then wait until she attacks into you at a bad timing, or focus on another area, because if she can't use her groove where she is, then she basically has no groove. Okay, so I think that's the list. Of course, I'm still kind of okay. So the top ones are there for sure, just the order, and you know, you can't really say that Vesper is really worse than like Ragna. So there's that. I mean, if there's any disagreements, feel free to leave it in the comments. This is about it, I think. I would like to know your thoughts, so yes, please comment below and we can have a discussion there. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.